Alright, YouTube, what's going on? My name's Trevor. I'm going to talk about how to get your first personal training job if you've never done it before. Okay? I'm going to break this down into 3 simple steps, make it really comprehensive, make it really simple, short and sweet to the point. You don't want a long video, just want to get right through this. Alright? Hopefully, this will benefit you guys. Quick little backstory first. I've been a personal trainer for about a year and a half now. I've had a couple different personal training jobs. I've shadowed at a lot of different gyms, so I have a good idea of what gym cultures are like, what to look for in a job, what not to look for. And the main reason I'm making this video is because I worked for some pretty crappy gyms and I've shadowed some pretty crappy gyms. And doing that, you learn a lot about the personal training business. So hopefully, this will help the viewers not make the same mistakes I did. Hopefully, you guys can skip some of the bad gyms and get a good personal training job. Because when you're first starting out, you want a good personal training job. You don't want a gym that's just looking for some trainer to fill in some slots, to train some clients, to make them money. You want to be more than a number. Okay, so let's start off with step 1. The very first thing is you need your credentials. If you don't have any experience training people, or if you're not certified, it's going to be really hard to get a personal training job. So the first thing you need to do is get some experience training people and get certified. You can go through NASM, you can go through ACE, ACSM. There's so many of them. I'm personally NASM certified. I think NASM's great. ACE and the other ones are really big too. It doesn't matter too much as long as you get one of the really top tier ones. They're all pretty much the same. Um, so, but don't think that just because you have a certification qualifies you for the job. It doesn't. So you need that background experience. I've trained people before. You need to know how to train people, right? A certification doesn't teach you how to train people. It just teaches you how to do it safely, right? It certifies you. So that's step 1. Make sure you have your credentials in order. If you don't, train your friends for free, train your family, train, people at the local rec center. Just do everything for free. That's how you get basic experience, okay? There's no other way to do it. If you don't have experience, it's going to be kind of hard. So, step 2 is when you're applying online or in person or whatever, the main focus of any application, especially with personal training, because it's a very personable job, requires a lot of personality, the main focus of the application is to get an interview. Your goal with the application is to get an interview, because they probably have a whole bunch of applications that they're going through, and then they decide to call this person, they decide to call that one. You want that person that they decide to call to be you. So how do you do that? You have to make your application stand out a little bit. So don't talk about in your application I have, make sure you put your experience, at least 1 year, 2 years is, minimum what they look at to be, considered. But you want to have experience. You want to talk about your personality a little bit, but not too much. And the big thing is you want to seem curious. Like, you want to make it look like you're willing to learn about their job culture. And that's going to be huge when I get into the final step 3, about actually applying during the interview. But you don't want to come off as someone that's like, oh, me, I have this much experience, I want to do that, I have this, I can do that, blah blah blah. You don't want to come off as pretentious like that, because no manager wants to manage someone that's hard to manage or that thinks that they know everything, right? Especially in personal training, which is most likely going to require a lot of sales. No one wants someone that's not a team player, that's in it for themselves, right? So be very humble. Okay, so with your actual application, make sure you have at least a year of experience. In your description, why should we hire you? Make sure you're putting, I want to learn about the job culture. I want to see what the job can offer me. I want to learn new things and improve my craft, things like that. Don't say, I love fitness and I have a super strong passion and this and that, because that's what everyone says, okay? Make sure you stand out. So, step 3 is the final step, and this is kind of the most important part of the video, because I'm going to talk to you about how to actually interview. You're not going to get an interview for every application that you put in, which is why you need to do a lot of applications. But when you do get an interview, here's what you got to do. The very, very, very first thing you want to do, introduce yourself, be nice and professional, obviously, look clean cut. You don't have to shave, but make sure you look good, you're presentable. The first thing you're going to do is ask about the job culture. Hey, Mr. I don't know, say the hiring manager's name is Jeff. Hey, Jeff, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. So I'm just worrying, ignore me. I'm just wondering, what is the job culture really like? So my first couple days, what do I expect? What am I learning? How do you guys run your personal training? Ask questions like that, where it shows that you're trying to learn, you're trying to understand. You should be listening more than you're talking during your job interview, which sounds kind of ironic, right? It sounds kind of ironic. But if you think about what a job interview really is, they're taking you into their facility and gauging whether or not you seem like you're going to grasp how they operate, because every gym is different. So you can't go into one gym with a mindset of oh yeah, I know how personal training is. You sell some programs and you do this and you do that. No, every gym is different. You need to understand how they do it and make sure that they see that you understand that, right? Sounds a little weird, but it makes sense, because they don't want someone that's going to walk in and say, yeah, I'm so good at training clients, I have this much experience, I trained this, I trained a class, I did this. They don't want that. They want someone that's like, oh, well, I've trained a class and I've trained some clients before, so I have a little bit of experience, but I'm just wondering and I'm curious, how do you guys specifically go about your personal training in this facility and your job culture? How do you guys carry yourselves with your clients? How do you conduct your business? Questions like that, where you're gonna get a response and listen and learn about their job. They love it. They'll eat it up, because from day one that they even met you, you're already learning the job correctly. It's not even your interview and you're technically already learning how to do the job. And if you can show that you understand what they say, so if they say, so every member that comes in, they get a complimentary personal training session, that's our opportunity to sell them training, expose them to training, which every gym does, by the way. So you should be asking about that. And when the new member signs up, they get that session, blah, blah, blah. And then from there, we show them packages if they're interested. And make sure you're saying, okay, I understand. And then you say it back to them. You say, so a new member comes in, we train them, we try to get them into personal training, see whether they like it or not. And if they don't want to buy now, maybe they'll buy a couple weeks down the road or a couple months down the road when they're not seeing the results that they want. Like, make sure you're listening and understanding what they're telling you. That is so huge, okay? Second thing, ask about expectations. So first the culture, now expectations. So if I were to get hired, if you guys were to hire me, or don't even say it like that, just say, what is expected of your personal trainers? So am I expected to make sales, to hit revenue goals? Am I expected to retain a certain amount of clients, to get a certain amount of new clients every month? Like, ask your expectations, so that way they know that you're looking for what you're gonna have to do, right? You're already taking responsibility, right? That one's pretty simple. Third thing, which I kind of already said, but is to be humble. Don't be a know-it-all. My manager actually told me that he like didn't want to hire someone the minute he met him, because all he did was talk about, I do this, I do that, I've done this, and I know that. And it really is true. No one wants to hire a know-it-all. No one wants to work with a know-it-all. Especially when you have other personal trainers and competition and things like that. No one wants to be around a know-it-all type of person. You know what I mean? Like, I understand why some people do that, because they want to seem knowledgeable, but that's the very, very minimum of what you need to be a personal trainer. You should have knowledge. Everyone should have experience. So you trying to push something that everyone else has, kind of just makes you look a little silly and a bit naive, honestly, because you're like, imagine you have someone, you're applying for a job that requires driving, like you're delivering cars, and you go to the guy and you say, I have my license, here's my driver's license, I've had it for 5 years, look at it. No one's gonna care. They're not gonna care, because that's the base minimum of what they're expecting, right? Same thing with personal training. Don't be like, oh yeah, I'm NASM certified, I'm ACE certified. I don't know why I'm doing this, but don't like shove all your qualities down their throat, because they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear you tell them why you should hire them. They want to see you show them why they should hire you, right? So don't be a know-it-all. Be humble and try to express your knowledge in a very humble and subtle way, right? So just don't be in their face about it, essentially. So next thing is, and this one is where it gets really into the psychology of interviewing, and it's the fact that you want them to sell you the job. So as an interview, you're coming in to interview to hopefully get the job, and you applied and you're coming to them so far, right? But somewhere throughout the interview, you want to turn the tables on them and make them start trying to sell you the job, make them want you to want it. And how you do that is you don't come off like, oh yeah, I want the job so bad, I need the job. You just come off, like I said, listening to what they're saying, because as you're listening to their job culture, you're actually thinking yourself, do I want this job? Do I want to work in a culture where every member that comes through has to do this thing, and how the personal trainers have to go through a training, or whatever the culture may be? You have to think about whether you want that or not. And the employer, the manager, whoever you're speaking to, will see that, and they'll be like, okay, this guy seems really good. He's learning. He's asking this. He's asking that. How do I make the job sound better? Blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? They're going to try to make the job seem better than what it is, just because that you seem like a good candidate. So once you get into like that power shift where it's no longer like, am I good enough for the job? I'm interviewing. I hope I get it. To where, oh wow, do I want this job? I don't know if I like that. And then asking them serious questions, because then they'll be like, wow, I got to sell this job. He's asking about that. Oh, I better make that sound good. He's asking if the culture is okay. I better tell him all the good things about the culture. You know what I mean? Make them sell you the job so that you don't come off as needy. Not that you're coming off as needy, but you want to come off as you don't need the job. You're just here to see what it's like. Okay? So, next thing is to listen more than you speak. I already said that. So again, don't be talking about me. Listen to what they're saying. Ask good questions. Make sure you listen and give smart, witty rebuttals. Don't be like, oh, what's the job culture like? Oh, well, you do this, this, and that. Oh, that's really cool, right? You want to be like, oh, wow, that's very interesting, or whatever. You get the point. And then the final thing is one more thing before the final thing. Make sure you apply to a bunch of different gyms, right? And then just filter out the job cultures that you don't like. Because even if you say, okay, well, thank you for the interview, I'm not ready right now to start the process, I have a couple other places that I'm interviewing at, any employer will respect that, okay? So make sure you're going around and learning different gyms and finding what works best for you, right? Don't just limit yourself to one place. Don't go to one interview and be like, all right, I have to work here now because I interviewed. No, go everywhere and then pick what culture you like the most. So real simple. So finally, last thing is to not try too hard. Don't try all these tips I'm giving you right now. I know it's kind of a lot, but don't try to be perfect. Don't try to go in there and be like this super perfect trainer that they need to hire and you can do this and that. Just be yourself, and ultimately the right gym will hire you, or at least offer you the job, and then you'll take it. You don't need to think about it too hard. These tips I'm giving you are just so that every place you interview at will most likely offer you the job. So giving you a better selection to choose from, when after you've interviewed 5 places, 3 or 4 of them have given you the opportunity to work there, and now you're just sitting back, well, I like this one more, that one's closer to me, then you can choose whatever's the most convenient for you. Because honestly, personal training it's a tough business, and you don't want to work somewhere that you don't really like, and some management teams are just way better than others. My first job, it sucked. My manager was out to get me, you know what I mean? And now my manager is making sure I'm good all the time, making sure if I have any questions, he's answering them and he's supporting me, So having the right job and the right culture is huge. So I hope you guys got some value from that. If you did, leave a thumbs up. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments. I'd be happy to answer and help anyone else out. And that's pretty much all I got. I'm going to be having more videos, so if you want to subscribe. It's up to you. Alrighty? Peace.